Good evening, absurdity fans. So, I was going to go through, pick a name, go through a couple of the books, or a few of the books, all of the books, and show you the write-ups that they do on each person, and then jump onto Google. Now, I always say, I don't know much about Copernicus, so you start with the Galileo, don't you? That's usually, right? I don't know why. Copernicus but I was going to do Tycho, Brahe tonight. So I went over to the 1961, as you do. These books have absorbed all of the colours apart from that one. What's that? Grey, isn't it? But obviously it's not absorbed yellow there, see? So it's absorbing all of the other colours here, apart from yellow. And then, anyway, and look, see how it's absorbed all the other colours, look? Or is it just green and blue? I'm telling you, it's green and blue. So, Tycho, I look up the name Brahe in the index and open the page where I'm to find him, and I find Copernicus, but underlined, and I underlined it, and then it went up to there, and I tick, 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 tick. The only thing I can think of is this was done just before I got my cluster headaches last year, and then it got forgotten, but I had a quick read. It's like, holy smokes, guys, I assure you that this history that you have right here, it's a story, right? I guarantee you that it's a story. This is not real history, right? I'm telling you right now. Now listen to this. So it's not a lot. So I'm going to read from that where it's underlined. That, just up, down there, and up to about there, right? So taking the beautiful views. All right, now listen to this. Now this is in the 1400s, right? Don't forget this. There's a reason why all of this happened. 1400s, right? Do not forget what we're talking here. Right, we're not going to go there. Here we go. Copernicus's account of the heavens left many problems unsolved. It was inaccurate too, in certain respects. For Copernicus, whose eyesight was bad, was a poor observer. Yet he had certainly provided a far simpler and in all respects more satisfactory explanation than Ptolemy. Now, what I used to say about Copernicus, I don't really know much about Ptolemy, but this just keeps on going, okay? Where are we? For the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. Copernicus realized that the Earth wobbles a little as it rotates. Now listen to this, right? This is the 1400s, right? Now, seriously, Copernicus realized that the Earth wobbled a little as it rotates. How do you realize that? I mean, how do you... Guys, this is what you're missing, right? Everybody's just accepting everything. You don't realize that the Earth wobbles as it spins on its axis. That's horse shit, not horseradish. It's ridiculous, right? And for those of you who have this habit of saying, prove it, you need to stop doing that, right? Because it's silly. I'm going to read it one more time. Copernicus realised that the Earth wobbles a little as it rotates, like a spinning top. He traced out the route of the Earth around the Sun and calculated the length of the year correctly to within 28 seconds. Now, again, how? If somebody said to me right now, okay, even knowing if it was the 1st of January and somebody said to me, right, work out how long a year is, right? You've got 365 days. Within 28 seconds in the 1400s. How? Honestly, it's just one thing after another, right? 20 seconds. Correctly to within 28 seconds. He diagrammed the planets then known, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, in their correct order and determined the approximate period of revolution about the Sun for each one. Now, he estimated how long it takes for these planets to orbit around the Sun. What? Jupiter's something like 12. Jupiter's 12, isn't it? Or is it 20? Jupiter is 12 years, give or take, and Saturn, it's nearly 30 years. Alexa, how long does it take for Jupiter to orbit the Sun?
Jupiter's orbital period is 11.863 years.
Right. Alexa, how long does it take for Saturn to orbit the Sun?
Saturn's orbital period is 29.447 years.
Right, so this guy, don't forget, right? He is no telescope whatsoever. Saturn, we can just about see it with the naked eye. This is 500 years ago, 600 years ago nearly, 550 years ago. Guys, honestly, it's ridiculous. They've pumped these people up with so many skills for a reason, because it then allows them to take the baton from them and carry on running with the BS. That is what's happening. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. He recognized a basic principle of relativity, for he remarked that all change in position is due to a motion either of the observer or of the thing observed. Now, look, I didn't remember that, right? So there you go. He recognized a basic principle of relativity, for he remarked that all change in position is due to a motion either of the observer or of the thing being observed. This is so obvious, right? You have to see this. This is just a story. So I was thinking that Olaus Roma was the first person ever with that poxy light delay as Io was coming out from behind Jupiter, but it wasn't. Copernicus has taken the bickies now. Oh, God. This is just beyond a joke. Seriously, it really is. Copernicus provided a set of planetary tables with his revolutions. Unfortunately, these tables were based on insufficient and inaccurate observation, and they gave an inadequate idea of the true motion of the planets. After he did all of that in the 1400s, little could be done to verify the heliocentric theory until more complete and authentic data could be provided. This essential material was soon provided by the Danish astronomer Tycho Brahe, one of the greatest observational astronomers, stargazers if you will, who ever lived. Listen to this. Brahe did all of his work before the telescope had been developed. We can only conjecture what he could have accomplished if he could have utilised this indispensable instrument for his work. Now, This right here, if you believe this, right, you will believe anything. You will believe anything, because all of these things are ridiculous, right? For that, again, those of you that say, prove it. Guys, you need to snap out of that, prove it. You need to start saying to them, prove it. Trust me. Now, I had a quick look at 2 or 3 books, right? And when we get to, because we're looking at Copernicus now, right? All we have, right, Copernicus, so, so Copernicus down there, comes boom, boom, and it ends there, so that's Copeland, right? And that's the Copernican system, so that's where it ends. So it's not a lot, right? Now, all of these books are the same. All of these encyclopedias, every single one of them, all of them, you'll get a page, half a page, a few paragraphs, but there is not that much. How much could there be if you think about this? We're talking 500 years ago. Now, where has all of this information come from, right? Where has all of this information come from? Why is it all told in the same way? Way too much detail. I'm talking way too much detail. It's an insult to people's intelligence once again, but only if you are objective enough to look at things as they are. Right? Now, the laptop. Let's have a look at Copernicus. Right. You're going to love this. Why did you switch off laptop? I didn't say anything about switching off, did I? Oh, okay. It was a good job that that screen came up, because it's black and it's an absence of light. I wasn't even sure I was holding it. Right. And these buttons, it's a good job they've got the little white letters and numbers on, because without any light, what is it they say? Oh gosh, it's ridiculous. Right. Now, Nicholas Copernicus, right? 1473 to 1543. Now look. I mean, look, all right? Right, so about their languages, Copernicus is postulated to have spoken Latin, German. Now, look at the amount of, it's ridiculous. But all of these things are the same, right? This is 500 years ago. You do not have this much information. I don't have this much information about my granddad, for crying out loud. It's ridiculous. Let me just read a couple of, just anywhere. Right, oh, that one big, that's good. In the spring of 1541, Duke Albert, former Grand Master of the Teutonic Order, who had converted the monastic state of the Teutonic Knights into a Lutheran and hereditary realm, the Duchy of Prussia, upon doing homage to his uncle, the King of Poland, summoned Copernicus to Königsberg to attend the Duke's counsellor, George von Kuenheim, who had fallen seriously ill and for whom it's a story. This isn't real. I guarantee, I'm telling you, this is not real. His administrative and economic duties did not distract Copernicus in 1512 to 1515 for intensive observational activity. The results of his observations of Mars and Saturn before the telescope, right, In this period, and especially a series of 4 observations of the sun made in 1515, led to the discovery of the variability of Earth's eccentricity and of the movement of the solar apogee in relation to the fixed stars. Listen, this is just horseradish, right? It is. It's just, look. Sometime before 1514, Copernicus wrote an initial outline of his heliocentric theory, known only from later transcripts by the title perhaps given to it by a copyist, Nicolae Copernicus. It was a succinct theoretical description of the world system without mathematical apparatus and differed in some important details. Look, it's just way too in detail. Copernicus was his uncle's secretary and physician from 1503 to 1510, or perhaps until his uncle's death on the 29th of March 1512, and resided in the bishop's castle at Lidsbach, Helsberg, where he began work on his heliocentric theory. In his official capacity, he took part in nearly all of his uncle's political, ecclesiastic, and administrative economic... Look. Copernicus made 3 observations of Mercury with errors of -3, -15, -1 minutes of arc. He made 1 of Venus with an it jumps up. You cannot believe this stuff. Mother's family. Nicholas' mother, Barbara Watson Road, was the daughter of a wealthy Torin patrician and city councillor, deceased 1462, and Katarzyna, widow, mentioned in other sources, were a prominent Polish family who had been well known in Poland's history since 1271. The Watson Road family, like the Copernicus family, had come from Silesia, from near... they seem to become one of the wealthiest and most influential. By marriage, Copernicus was related to wealthy families. Look, now we're branching off. Lucas Watson Road, the elder, a wealthy merchant. Look, this is just rubbish. Lucas Watson Road, the younger, the astronomer's maternal uncle and patron, was educated at the University of Krakow and the Universities of Cologne and Bologna. He was a bitter opponent of the Teutonic Order, and its Grand Master once referred to him as the devil incarnate. Ooh. Look, it's ridiculous. It's just, it's stupid, right? I've been granted to this. By a document dated 10th of January, he would add us. Oh, God. Nobody knows this much about somebody 500 years ago. Meanwhile, leaving Warmia in mid-1496, possibly with the retinue of the chapter's chancellor, Jerzy Prague was going to Italy in the fall, possibly in October. Copernicus arrived in Bologna, and a few months after leaving Warmia, he was going to Italy. Arrived in Bologna a few months later in January. Bologna University. Copernicus seems to have himself. He received. Look, there was no transport. All they had was horses, right? And they talk about this stuff. You know how big Europe is? It's just bullshit. Rome. Copernicus spent the Jubilee year in Rome, where he arrived with his brother Andrew that spring, doubtless to perform doubtless, of course. Here too, however, he continued his astronomical work. His astronomical work began at Bologna. Alexa, how far is it from Bologna to Rome?
From Bologna, Rome is 375.2 kilometres away by car.
Bologna. Alexa, where is Bologna?
Here is an answer from an Alexa Answers contributor that I translated. Bologna is located in Italy in the Emilia-Romagna region.
Alexa, where's Warmia?
Here's something I found on Wiktionary. Warmia is a proper noun meaning a historical region in northern Poland.
North, of course he's from Poland. Alexa, how far is it from Warsaw to Rome?
From Warsaw, Rome is 466.9 kilometers away by car.
Alexa, how far away is Poland from Rome?
From Rome, Poland is 7,796.6 kilometers away.
Now, if you didn't know your distances and you asked this question and that was the answer you'd got, what would you do? You wouldn't know, would you? That's wrong. Alexa, how far away is Poland?
Sorry, I couldn't find what you're looking for.
Alexa, what's the distance from Rome to Poland?
From Rome, Poland is 7,796.6 kilometers away.
See? I know she's lying. Alexa, how far is it from Poland to Italy?
From Poland, Italy is 6,887.5 kilometers away.
Far out. Can't even get a proper answer from her. But anyway, look. Honestly. It's just ridiculous. Most of study was astrology since it was considered an important part of rubbish. Rubbish, rubbish, rubbish. All this travelling all over the shop. Planetary observation. Made 3 observations of Mercury. That's where we were. He made 4 observations with rubbish. Copernicus observed an occultation of Aldebaran by the moon. Copernicus also observed a conjunction of Saturn and the moon. He saw an eclipse of the moon. Yeah, okay. Work. Having completed all his studies in Italy, 30-year-old Copernicus returned to Warmia, where he would live out the remaining 40 years of his life. Apart from brief journeys to Krakow and to nearby Prussian cities. Alexa, how far away is Italy from Prussia?
I don't have an answer for that.
Alexa, how far away is Torun to Italy?
From Rome to Rio.com. The distance between Turin and Italy is 1,414 kilometers.
That's better. All right. So that's what we're looking at. 1,500 kilometers. There was no transport, right? This is just rubbish. This is just rubbish. Look, you don't go through these things and read these things and go, wow, that guy was clever. Or this, or he did that. What you need to be saying to yourselves, asking yourselves is, how do they know all this stuff? This is 500 years ago. Now, the Tycho Brahe thing is exactly the same. You guys go onto Google, right? And just Google the names and start reading. Tell yourselves that they know all of this information about these people. Nobody knows that much information. It's a well-written story. It's a well-written story. And I've been saying that. I'm glad I saw that underlined stuff because all of this, most of this, right? It was for this. I'm telling you guys, they have pumped these guys full of steroids, right? And made them really smart. Beyond smart. What's it? Who was it? I think it was Newton. When he was 14, he was already, it's rubbish. It's a well-told story, and it's a well-told story with these people having achieved things that are impossible. And you know why? Because it carried on. It's a well-told story. Slam dunk. This is not true history. I guarantee you guys, this is not true history. It's illogical. It defies common sense. The way it's written, I'll say it again, like a story. Read these things, but properly. Don't just, oh yeah, he's smart. Say to yourselves, this is 500 years ago. Where does this information come from? It's a story. Right, I'm going to call it for tonight. I could do Tico tomorrow, but it's going to be the same thing. Google some of these names and tell yourselves that what you're reading is true. It's bullshit. History has been made up. Later, peeps.